Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Class 47 Peter YouTube channel. And in today's video it's going to be all about my buffered HST Power Cars in Intercity swallow through. Now the reason I'm doing this video is just to share my experience with them, because as you can tell by the title, these are a replacement. The previous ones that I had, which were featured in my review that I did on these models, they had to go back for a replacement. Well, a replacement of sorts. I'll be explaining all that later on. But these have just arrived in the post, and I did ask the retailer who I bought them from to have them checked before they got sent out, and they have passed their quality control, as you can see. Right, so I'm just going to get these opened. I'm not going to be doing a review on these Power Cars, by the way. I've already done that. So I'm just going to be giving you just a glimpse of these Power Cars before I properly unbox them, which I'll do off camera. And also, I've not yet looked at these myself. Well, not this particular pair anyway. So there we have the Power Car with the motor, and just look at that. That looks stunning. And then we have the dummy Power Car. Superb. Get rid of a little bit of dust on them. But they do look stunning. So I'm going to have these carefully unboxed off camera, and then I'm going to get them down on the layout, and then I'm going to explain why these Power Cars got returned. I'll also take out the little bag of accessories, because I'm going to be fitting those to the model later. So here are both Power Cars out of the box and down on the layout. Now, the reason why I had to send the last ones back is because they had a quality control problem. I know in my review that I said that the Power Cars were devoid of any quality control issues, but for those of you who have watched my review on these models, you will have noticed that I only showed the Power Cars from this side, as you can see them on camera. I never showed the models from the other side. The reason for that is because the detail on both sides of the Power Cars is exactly the same, to be honest, and so I didn't really feel the need to show the Power Cars from both sides because the detail is the same. I know I have done it with some models, whereas if they've got detail differences on both sides, then I will show them, but if the detail's the same on the both sides, then I try not to show both sides because the detail is otherwise the same. I do feel foolish though, to be honest, because had I turned the Power Cars to the other side, then I likely would have spotted the problem with one of the Power Cars sooner. So the quality control issue I had with the previous Power Cars was on this side of the model, as you can see on screen, as I have turned them to this angle so you can see them. And specifically the quality control issue was with the motor Power Car. Whereas with the red stripe, there was a little bit of the paint that hadn't been applied well. I mean, it was crisply applied on the dummy power car, and on the rest of the motor power car the paint was applied superbly, but yet there was still a quality control issue with the paint. It's hard to describe, but it looked almost like a lump of paint, essentially where a little bit of the paint hadn't been applied on very smoothly. And unfortunately that defect that got scratched off accidentally, and the defect itself got scratched off, removing some of the red paint. I will show you a photograph of it. You can see the red paint that has come off. That was the defect itself, and you can see the defects behind the scratch, as you can see here in this zoomed up shot. Now I know you're probably thinking, well, if the paint scratched off, that was your own doing. Well, by accidental it may have been, but the fact is there was still a quality control problem, because there was a defect in the red paint that what I can only describe as a lump. Like perhaps maybe something was in the paint or something was on the surface and it caused almost something like, I guess perhaps an air bubble. And after just handling, alas very carefully and accidentally, the defect just got scratched off, scratching off some of the red paint, and that shouldn't really happen on any model. There shouldn't be any quality control issues whatsoever, especially if you pay 260 quid for these HST Power Cars. You know, you expect them in immaculate condition, I certainly do. So there shouldn't be any quality controls with them at all whatsoever. So I was both upset and annoyed by that. Upset because what happened, and annoyed because that just had to happen after filming a review on these power cars. Sod's law for you. So I got in touch with Kearney Model Rail Centre, which is where I bought the ones that you saw in my review from, and I explained the problem, and they were very willing and helpful. They said, send them back and we'll try and help you. I had asked for a replacement, but because they didn't have any left in stock, I was unsure whether or not I would get a replacement or not. So we missed a phone call from them on last Saturday, specifically the Saturday before filming this video, because it will now be the next week when this video is uploaded and you'll be watching it. And so on the Sunday we phoned them up, and they said that they were going to refund the money, but also they was going to order another set of power cars from the Hornby website, so they would have to pay again for that basically. But then the next day, on Monday, as luck should have it, while we was out on the shopping run, we missed another phone call from them. But they did leave a message, and they explained that they were unable to get any more stock of these power cars. They're still available to order on the Hornby website for the public, but not for the retailers. So they ended up refunding my money in the end. But I do thank them for their service and being willing to help out, because whenever I've had any sort of quality control or problem, I've never had any issues with any of the retailers, regardless whether it be Kearney, Hattons or any of the others. You know, they're always willing to help you in situations like that. And it wasn't the end of the world either, because there were other retailers selling these power cars, and so what I did was, with the refunded money, I went and bought a new pair of power cars, and I bought these ones from the model centre. I haven't paid any more or any less as I did for Kearney. I still paid 260 quid, the same price for them, but I did specifically request them to check the power cars before they send them out, which is what they have done. As you can see, that they've passed the quality control, as you saw with that little sticker on the box, and they certainly have, because the proof is in the pudding. As you guys can see here, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them at all, and they're just superb models. So I have refitted the step-ton couplings to these power cars, because I took them off the original ones and refitted the tension locks. So I kept the tension locks to one side, I didn't throw them away. It's a good job I did. Now, what I should point out as well, when removing one of the hunt couplings from the original power cars, one of them, specifically the B coupling, that got broke, as you can see here. The clips on the end of that coupling decided to break off. And you do have to be careful with these hunt couplings, because they can break if you're not careful. They are a bit brittle because they're 3D printed, but I can still salvage this one because I think I can still glue the clips back on in place and still reuse it. The original A coupling that I used on one of the original Power Cars has been reused, but the B coupling is a new one, and that's because I already had some of these HST step couplings as spares. I had more than a pair of them, so it didn't matter really if one of them broke. All I had to do was to just get one of the spares out and then fit it in. And again, like with the original Power Cars, as you saw in my review, the motor Power Car has the B coupling because that then attracts with the magnet on the coach that gets coupled behind that one, which has an A coupling. And the dummy Power Car has the A coupling because then that retracts with the coach that gets coupled behind that Power Car, which has a B coupling, basically. Also, as you would expect, straight out of the box, these Power Cars work, and they work beautifully. You can see we have the headlights there. And there you got the tail lights. So I'm going to switch the camera around and we'll get a different angle of these running by. So I've turned the camera around just so you can see the lights on the other Power Car. So you can see we have the tail lights there. And there are the headlights. Oh, wrong way. There they are. We've got the headlights working as well. And also the running performance with these, the mechanism is just absolutely smooth. There's no horrible grinding noises or etc. The running performance, as they say, it's like cutting a hot knife through butter. That is just absolutely beautiful. Now, I know this next bit is something I've already covered in my review I did on these Power Cars, but I'm going to talk about this again anyway. The colours on the HST Power Cars and the Mark IIIs, they match. You've got the beige on the bottom and on the top. You've also got the white and then the red stripe, plus the grey as well. The colours, they all match, which is what we'd want to see. We would want to see the Mark IIIs matching that of the Power Cars. It is interesting though, with the grey, is that certain lighting, it can look like it's a different shade. So you guys probably, even in this video perhaps, or even in the review I did on these Power Cars, might have noticed that in certain lighting, that the colours can look different, and that's simply due to the lighting. So I've added the air pipes on the buffer beams on both Power Cars, and with the accessory bag you do get a little photograph to show you where the pipes go on the buffer beam. So you get in total 4 yellow ones and 2 red ones. And I've applied a very small amount of Yoo-hoo, and they've just slotted straight into the holes with no issues there whatsoever. So there's nothing more left to say really about these models, other than the fact that I do absolutely love them, and I'm just so happy to have them back in the fleet. I'll still stand by my opinion, what I said in my review. I haven't changed my opinion because of the quality control issue with the last ones. I know some people might think I'm being generous to still stand by my opinion, given the quality control issue that I had with one of the last Power Cars, but at the end of the day, the issue's been resolved. I've got a new pair of models, and the Power Cars I have got are fabulous. You know, there's nothing wrong with these at all, so I see no reason to change my mind or opinion over the quality control issue that these models don't have, and that these models are superb, as you've seen for yourselves. There's nothing wrong with these at all, and so I'm happy. And I still think that they're superb models, and I'd still recommend them. I know 260 quid might seem a lot of money for a pair of HST Power Cars, but it's still worth the money. And at the end of the day, if you want models like this, then you've got to pay the price for these models, unless you're willing to stick around and see if these models see a price reduction, which might happen. So I'm really happy with these. So with nothing else left to say now, I'm going to get the HST running around the layout for you guys to enjoy. So thank you for watching this video. It has been something a little bit different. It hasn't been a review, I should also point out. I've just done this video to just share my experience with these models. So don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, and do post a comment if you wish. Don't forget to check out all my other videos I have on the channel, and I'll see you again next time. But until then, stay safe, stay well, and take care. Ta-ra.